Hi everyone, it's Liam here from Rating the Races. So thank you to Tim Cran for the shout out regarding Smoking Gun. I highlighted it last year, needed a step up in trip, gets a step up in trip over 3 mile 5 and wins at 10-1. Delighted for the new owners. Gigginstown obviously didn't listen, but Gigginstown are never going to listen to me, are they? Or not in 2021 anyway. Let's keep pushing on that. Anyway, moving on to some of the races that happened over the weekend and horses that caught my eye. And the first race I want to talk about is the novice chase at Newbury. Obviously, Pick Dory, hugely eye-catching there. He went 1.16 in the run. When he skipped clear, I thought he was going to win, but got the third last, was it, that he came down at? He was going to win. I think it might have been the fourth last, and then Miller's Bank unseated at the second last. Pick Dory was going to win, and was going to win quite nicely. Keep an eye out, obviously, for him going forward. I think his handicap mark is too high, so there's a handicap isn't an option, but wouldn't surprise me if we see him maybe at Kempton or Sandown next time. The maiden hurdle at Newbury was obviously won by John Bon, and John Bon has a huge reputation. He did drift and then got backed in again, ended up going off the 10-11 favourite with good risk at all going off the 2-1 second favourite. Now, John Bon is now 9-2, I think, favourite for the Supreme Novice and was already favourite for the Supreme Novice at Cheltenham. Well, if you take that literally, good risk at all has actually run a really good race. And I wouldn't be giving up on good risk at all. And having now finished second twice over hurdles, I wonder if you see good risk at all potentially run in a listed race or a graded race next time and maybe not win, maybe finish fourth with the handicap in mind. I don't know what handicap at the moment, but I'm just interested in good risk at all. If they get that horse handicapped now, they could pick up a feature handicap before then going up to or back up to graded and listed and graded level. It's all about how good do you think John Bon is. If you think John Bon wins the Supreme Novice, you've got to be interested in good risk at all going forward, especially if they go down the handicap route with him. So just a little bit of an obvious one. Sometimes you look at horses that are going to go off favourite in a Supreme or a Triumph, and you look at the horses just in behind. But I think some of them are obvious, but I think good risk at all is one that I definitely want to keep an eye on going forward, and it's not just because he finished second to a horse who's likely to go off favourite for a race at the Cheltenham Festival. Moving on to the 150. Now, it was a surprise who won, not available, but I don't want to give up on the two behind. I almost don't want to give up on the three behind as well. I think 50 Ball can run much better than that, possibly just not at maybe at this level. But I definitely think Solo and Mr. Coffee can improve for those runs. Solo, I thought the jockey believed he was going to go past not available, probably thinking it's only not available. I'm going to beat him. He's not a danger. And he just kind of didn't really force the issue. Got the second last. I think he got the last a bit slow and just kept almost running out of time due to a couple of slow jumps late on. Solo, he's one that he's probably going to go up, I don't know, £4 for that, I reckon. So that will be £8, I believe, in 2 runs after finishing second twice. If he does that again or, another couple of times, I wonder how frustrating or how frustrated Paul Nicholls will be. And what he would answer if you asked him, what would you take, a winning an Adonis and then going up to our mark of 157 or finishing second 4 times over fences when you think you've got a well-handicapped horse? If it's not finishing second, in my opinion, then he's a little bit... He's got too many horses and he doesn't need winners. I saw a trainer recently like a tweet about that they want to take on the best horses and beat the best horses. This trainer also talks about prize money and how the poor prize money is disappointing and, how it's a struggle to win enough prize money to be financially viable. And yet you want to take on the best horses. For me, if I was a trainer, I'd be wanting a grade 1 against grade 5 horses, class 5 horses. If I could find a grade 1 that gave me, 25k for winning, and I was beating horses that they're rubbish, that wouldn't bother me at all. I'm winning the race, I'm getting the prize money. So some of the trainers seem to either be contradictory in terms of they're moaning about the prize money whilst also saying they want to take on the best horses, or they don't actually need the winners and that's not important to them. Which is, for me, if you're not as this is similar to what's going on in the snooker at the moment. If you don't need the winners and the prize money is not something that is essential, does that mean they put in enough work at home for the trainers on those horses, etc.? What's going on in the snooker at the moment is, I think it was Sean Murphy complained that the amateurs are beating some of the professionals because they've got nothing to play for. They don't win any prize money. As an amateur, you don't win prize money. So they're turning up and they can be as relaxed as anything and pot as many as they like. And if they lose, they lose. If they win, excellent, great, but they're not actually gaining anything out of it. Whereas the professionals, they're saying they are trying to win because it's their livelihood. That said, some of the prize money that they win in snooker, if losing one tournament because amateurs are playing in it is losing you don't have enough money, what are you doing with the rest of your money? You don't seem to be very good at saving your money and spending it wisely. But that's similar to what some of the trainers seem to come up with, that it doesn't, I'm not totally sure that prize money is the be all and end all for them, but those that it is, going back to what I was actually saying, those that it is the be all and end all should be looking for the easiest races going, not wanting to take on the biggest and the best horses around. Anyway, moving on to the Saturday. Now, there was a horse that caught my eye here, and it's Grand Sancy. Now, Grand Sancy looked for a long way. Grand Sancy, for most of the race, looked in trouble. Looked out the back, wasn't jumping great, and then ran on quite nicely into fourth. Didn't really get involved, wasn't... you can see he only traded an in-running low of 4.0. But why he's interesting for me is I wonder whether they might go back over hurdles. Over hurdles, he actually had some really good form. But they didn't give him long over hurdles, and they brought him over fences very quickly. He won a couple of good races over fences, but has just found recently his handicap mark and jumping the fences a bit of a struggle. And I wonder whether they might revert him to hurdles. If they revert him to hurdles off the same mark, I think he could go very close, because he shouldn't get in as close. He shouldn't make as many mistakes over hurdles as he does over fences. And I don't think he's badly handicapped. Just doesn't look the biggest or most natural jumper to me. So Grand Sancy could be interesting if they drop him to hurdles. We will see what they do with him in the future. The Ladbroke Trophy, there are two here that I think are interesting going forward. One of them was very, very obvious. Remastered. I think Remastered was going to win. When he drew alongside... Who did he draw alongside? Was it Cloth Cap? When he drew alongside, I think he was going to go and win quite nicely. But he fell. He fell far enough out that the handicapper can't touch his handicap mark. So they will obviously be looking for some compensation. Interestingly, being the same owners as Native River, I do wonder whether that might be the target for Remastered. The Welsh National, completely gone then. I couldn't think what I was saying. The Welsh National could be the target for him. It's definitely going to be one of these feature handicap staying chases, and obviously the Hennessy's worth, the Ladbroke Trophy is worth 142,000 for the winner. So I don't think they'll be looking at one of these handicaps where the prize money is only 25, 30, 40,000 pound. I think they'll be wanting a bit more than that. So I think they've got to aim him high at something like the Welsh National, potentially the Ultima Handicap Chase back at the Cheltenham Festival. So he's one that definitely catches my eye. And the other one that I thought was a bit similar to Grand Sancy in a way, was On the Ropes. Although On the Ropes won't be going back over hurdles. He was on the ropes for a lot of the race and seemed to be just struggling to go the gallop. Didn't jump amazingly, but again ran on quite nicely into fourth. Now, he's one I think that will step up in trip, and I do wonder whether they could aim him at something like the Irish National potentially. A long distance handicap chase like that, step him up in trip, allow him to find his own rhythm, and not potentially, I think if it had been over another 4 furlongs, I think you might find that On the Slopes would have got a bit closer. He's still, he's only 7, he's still young, he can still improve for the trip, and hopefully next time out they'll give him a little bit further to go, and he's one that definitely caught my eye for a future race over a longer trip. The final horse I want to talk about, this isn't going to happen, but let's hope. Montmoral, really disappointing, couldn't go with him, didn't look like he jumped very well at all. Maybe they should try him over fences. Obviously, we've got him for the Arkle. So I was very disappointed to see him running over hurdles. It wouldn't surprise me totally if Paul then goes, do you know what, we've got to go over hurdles. We're not going to win a champion hurdle. What is there to aim for over 2.5? Nothing. So let's go over fences and try and win an Arkle. That would be my plan with Montmoral, especially as you can get all the 4-year-old allowances if they run him in the next so many weeks. He's only 4. I think he'll jump fine. He's French bred. They generally jump quite well. So yeah, Montmoral over fences would be my suggestion to Paul for that. But it's not like Paul Nicholls is going to listen to me. So yeah, there's some thoughts from the weekend's racing. Keep an eye on Pic D'Orhy in a graded chase. I do think he'll bounce back. I thought he was going to win again, and it was a decent race he was going to win. Good risk at all if they go handicapping with him. Mr. Coffee should improve for the run and the experience over fences, whilst I think Solo can also win the race. I just felt the jockey maybe didn't give enough respect to the horse in front. Grand Sancy, I'd love to see him drop back over hurdles. I think his jumping is letting him down at the moment, and he's just finding everything a bit quick because of his jumping. Remastered for the Welsh National potentially. I think he was going to win when he fell. And On the Ropes, I think possibly for the Irish National. It looks like he might need a bit further, and his jumping can do with a little bit of improving. And let's hope Montmoral goes over fences now that he's possibly shown that he can't win a champion hurdle this year. Thanks for listening, and once again, thanks to Tim for giving me a shout out regarding Smoking Gun.